what's up, everyone? Sam Shaw here, founder of Wall Street Mastermind. I'm excited to be back today with another client interview for you guys. Today we have Jacqueline on with us, and I'm excited to have Jacqueline on because I guess she joined our program, I guess 2 months ago. It hasn't been that long, but she just finished going through her summer 2023 recruiting process and was able to successfully secure an offer from a bulge bracket bank. So I wanted to get her on here to just kind of talk to you guys about her journey and how she was able to do that. And she actually had to, I'll let her talk about this herself, but she had to recruit during a very, very busy time in her life. And so I think it was extra challenging on top of it's already normally very hard to do. So anyway, Jacqueline, thank you for taking the time to be on here with us today. And if you don't mind, can you just start off by introducing yourself briefly and letting people know who you are?
Yeah, so hi everyone, my name is Jacqueline. I'm an international student from Hong Kong and I currently go to NYU Stern. And as Sam mentioned, while I was recruiting, I was also going through the pledging process for a fraternity in my college, and both are really time consuming, but I'm really glad that I pushed through and obtained my offer.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm sure we'll dive more into kind of the process, but I guess take us back to the beginning first. Like, when did you decide that you want to pursue, I guess a career in banking or on Wall Street? Like, was that freshman year, sophomore year, or like when did you kind of have that realization?
For me, it was doing economics in high school. I got really interested in how activities between countries affect each other. And so I decided to go into a business school. And in business school, we dived more into how the actions of companies affect each other. And so um, that generated more interest for me to work in Wall Street. And also just exploring other clubs and societies in my college and seeing what kinds of industries there are on Wall Street also helped me choose the career that I really wanted to do. And also another reason is that I'm also a math major, and I also wanted to find something that was more quantitative on Wall Street. And so all accumulation of all those factors have brought me here today. Yeah.
Got it. Okay. So, like I said, you've only been working with us. Sophomore year is almost over. You started working with us, like, I think mid-February. So, like, kind of halfway through your spring semester, sophomore year.
Mhm.
So it sounds like you've known you wanted to do banking or, at least work on Wall Street for a while. Like, prior to Wall Street Mastermind, like, what were some of the things that you were doing to kind of work towards this goal?
Yeah, so a lot of upperclassmen in my college recommended me to use resources such as Breaking into Wall Street and Wall Street Oasis. And um, I was going through these resources, but I realized that they weren't that helpful for me because um, there was a lot of irrelevant information in these guides, I feel like, and I just didn't know where to start from when I was using these guides. And even though these guides were really informative, I couldn't really retain the information that well because their teaching style just didn't match how I would normally learn.
Hmm.
And aside from looking at these guides, I would also go on Google whenever I didn't understand anything. But there's so much information on Google.
Yeah.
It's just hard to condense it and like form your own knowledge from everything that's on Google. So that's what I did prior to joining Wall Street Mastermind. And in terms of my networking success rate, I was sending a lot of emails to different bankers, and my response rate was pretty low, and I felt pretty defeated from that, and I didn't really know what I was doing wrong because there's also not a lot of resources on these guides or on Google that really teach you how to network properly.
Got it. Okay. I guess that kind of segues into my next question, which is like, what made you finally then decide to join something like Wall Street Mastermind? Because presumably you have been doing some of these things for a while. And then what was the, I guess, inflection point that made you say, you know what, like maybe this isn't working and I got to try something else?
Yeah, so I just felt pretty lost while I was doing things on my own, mainly because I just didn't know what information I should be looking for in terms of studying for recruiting technicals or for looking how to send out networking emails. And
Mhm.
um, I just wanted to gain it, like, because I am from a business school, and I just wanted to gain a competitive advantage over the other students in my college, and just, solidify my knowledge, and just be able to reach more bankers at a higher success rate. And so ultimately, because I just didn't want to feel like I didn't know what I was doing anymore, I decided to join Wall Street Mastermind.
Got it. And I guess also at the time when you joined, it was like I think a lot of applications have started opening up as a lot of the top banks, probably like maybe a month to a month and a half prior to that. And so things are like really starting to pick up also, right? It was kind of like a now or never type of deal, right? Especially
Yeah,
for an international student where you kind of have to get into one of the bigger banks that are actually willing to sponsor visas,
yeah.
right?
I also just wasn't sure what banks were sponsoring or not, because banks change their sponsoring
Right.
requirements rules every year. So I was also pretty lost in that aspect.
Right. Yeah, that part is honestly really, really annoying, but we can't do much about it. Okay, um, so then you came into Wall Street Mastermind in February, and then, like you said, you also started this pledging process, which is just
Mhm.
like I think I remember you asking me about like whether you should do it. And I don't remember what I said, but I know that I went through the exact same pledging process myself back in college. And so I was like, I think I told you I got a lot out of it and it was very rewarding. So,
Yeah.
but like, talk to us about how your life has been the last 2 months. Like, what has it been like going through recruiting while in Wall Street Mastermind? Like, what were you doing differently than whatever it is you did before, and what kind of changes did you see, or in terms of results, or I don't know, like whatever you felt like actually you know differed from just what you were doing on your own. Like, can you kind of give us a sense?
Yeah, so I'll touch on what I did differently for networking first. So I was watching, I was watching the videos that Sam has on how to network properly to with bankers, and how you should send your emails and follow up with them. And for me, that really helped, because whenever I had a bad success rate, I would send him my email template, and then he would like help me edit it and give me feedback on how I should actually be reaching out to these bankers. And I feel like after a few adjustments in the emails that I sent out, I got a much higher success rate um, through Sam's feedback on my networking emails, and also on my coffee chat calls with these bankers. Initially, I was really dry, and I didn't really know what to do. So then, after talking with some other clients in the program, they helped me to um, improve my coffee chat skills, and I learned how to make a better first impression on these bankers when I'm actually chatting with them. And
Yeah,
so I think that was the main improvement for me in terms of reaching out to bankers and actually networking with them.
yeah,
And as for understanding the technicals for the interviews, and also um, developing better answers for my behaviorals, um, the structure that Sam has in his material really helped me to know what to expect in the behaviorals, and know how to properly answer them, by giving them like a structure to your answer, so that they know what you're talking about, and they know so when you signpost for them, like they know exactly what you're trying to tell them and what skills you're trying to demonstrate through your answer. And
yeah,
that's what I mainly learned through my behaviorals. And as for the technicals, because I was pledging, and because I didn't have that much time on my hands, going through the material that Sam had really helped me, because I didn't have to look on Google anymore for to make my own study guide. And having everything just there for me really helped me to understand the technicals better. And whenever I was confused with the technical questions, I knew that I could have texted Sam at any moment, or I could have just messaged other clients who are in the same program, and they would have willingly helped me
yeah,
improve my technicals.
yeah.
So yeah, those were the main improvements that I saw after joining the program.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, couple of things that I want to ask as like a follow-up to that, because you had mentioned that before when you were using things like Breaking in Wall Street or Wall Street Oasis, like I mean the information is there, but it was like the teaching style didn't really match how you would normally learn, right? And so
Yeah.
like what is the difference then with how those resources try to teach you these concepts versus like maybe how we try to teach you these concepts? Because it's not that the technical concepts are different, they're like the same concepts,
Hmm.
right? But how is it that this time around you're able to pick everything up seemingly in a lot less time while being a lot busier? Like what was the difference?
Yeah, so I feel like a main difference for me was that in these other guides, like Breaking into Wall Street, a lot of their technical information was just chunks of text. And for me, like I don't really like reading that much. So having this much text put into like a bunch of slides just wasn't the best learning method for me.
Hmm.
And when I was using Sam's materials, yes, there's text, but there's also like graphs and visuals to help you understand the different aspects of the technical. So, for example, how the financial statements link together. He had like visual aids to help me understand that better.
Yeah.
And another difference was just simplifying the equations for me. Um, I feel like the material on Wall Street Mastermind really understands that their clients are college students and they understand like what they've learned from their college education. And so a lot of the times the material presented on Wall Street Mastermind is more tailored towards what we've learned in college, whereas on guides such as like Breaking into Wall Street, a lot of the times their explanations were really complicated and I just really didn't understand it. And I would often have to do further, like extra Googling just so I would understand what they were talking about on the guides.
Got it. Yeah, I think what you're talking about there is ideally when someone else is trying to teach you certain concepts, you want them to be able to explain it in a way that like even a 5-year-old can understand it, right?
Yeah.
Like it's an art to be able to simplify certain concepts down to that degree, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, we kind of just assume that everyone that's coming to our program, this is not always true, but we assume that everyone that's coming to the program are like total beginners
Mhm.
and that they know nothing, right? And
Yeah.
we just solve for like the lowest common denominator. And sometimes people come in, they've already done some studying on their own, and that's not a problem. Then it's even easier for them. Um, but like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And so the other thing that I was curious about too was because you were pledging, like, I mean, I don't know how pledging was for you, but like when I threw pledging, I wasn't recruiting for banking. So I felt like I don't know if I could have done that, but like, how were you able to find the time? Like, what was your schedule like? Because sometimes people, people like think about like doing this program where they think about it and they're like, oh, but that's like more work that I'm gonna have to do, right? And like I don't know if I have time for it. So like, how did you manage all that?
Um,
You just like not sleep.
no, I did get enough amounts of sleep, but I mean, I'm not allowed to dive too much into details about pledging, but I can tell you that it was really time intensive and I would spend about 5, 6 hours a day pledging on the side while recruiting as well.
Yeah.
So, obviously I had a Google Calendar that really helped me to organize my times. Like I would block out times every day so that I would have chunks of time dedicated to pledging and then chunks of time dedicated for recruiting stuff, whether that be sending out emails to bankers or studying for my technicals and behaviorals. And this was a skill that Sam actually taught me to do,
Yeah.
like blocking out time chunks in your calendar so that you know what you should be doing in almost every hour of your day.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, aside from that, I think what really helped me whenever I didn't have a lot of time was just looking at what other clients were doing or the comments that they were saying in the group chat. So that would keep me updated on the process as well. And I wouldn't have to spend as much time knowing like, oh, what banks opened up their applications or like what banks are starting to um, interview their potential applicants, you know? So just having that network of clients who constantly update you in the group just also really helped me to know to stay in the loop with recruiting.
Yeah, got it. So you're talking about like kind of the being a part of the community aspect of it where um and you kind of mentioned this earlier too, but like a lot of our clients that are going through the process together, they're doing it together and they're helping each other out.
Mhm.
Some of the people that you said that you mentioned that helped you out, were they also were they like going through summer 2023 recruiting, or were they like older alumni, upperclassmen who have already finished, or was it like both?
I think they were mainly people who were also going through the recruiting process because um, they would be the ones who would tell everyone in the community, oh, like this bank opened up their applications. Oh, this bank is offering their interviews right now. I mean, there were also some alumni and upperclassmen who offered their advice
Yeah.
whenever someone in the community had a question about a particular aspect of recruiting. And I also thought that that was really useful.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's like one of my favorite things about our clients is that everyone's so collaborative. I'll be honest, like when I first started this thing, I was like, I wonder if like people will be very cutthroat and kind of like not help each other out. And I didn't have any expectations that people would be like super helpful to each other, but it just kind of organically became that way where I don't know, people are very willing to collaborate and help each other, and even though in a way you guys are also kind of competing with each other at the same time, right? So
Yeah.
and like a lot of our clients will like share all of their interview questions
Yeah.
into like a centralized database so that other people know what questions to expect and stuff like that, right? And so I think that's like it's been really really amazing and rewarding for me to see, to be honest. But I'm also really happy to hear that you actually time blocked, you actually listened to
Yeah.
what I told you to do, and that it worked. Yeah, I mean that's great. I mean, I do that myself, and I think I'm very busy, and if I didn't do that, like I would just be all over the place. So, but that's great. Yeah, because I want to. I feel like I want people to know that like obviously recruiting is always going to be really busy no matter what.
Yeah.
But saying you don't have time for recruiting is just like in my mind, that's I don't know. That doesn't make any sense to me because there are like few things that are more important than your career, you know? So like when people say I don't have time for something, what that really means is it's not important enough for you to like prioritize it into your day, right? Like otherwise you make time for it. And if anything, like by working with us, I think you can probably attest to this. Like we're not creating incremental work for you. If anything, we're like you're still doing the same work that you would have had to do anyway, but doing it on your own probably would have taken a lot longer, right? So
Mhm.
if anything, we're taking
Yeah.
stuff off your plate, right?
Yeah.
Um, but that's great. So like I guess if we kind of fast forward to kind of the end of your process here, um, what was like the outcome in the end? Like what were the offers that you were able to get?
Yeah, so I applied for diversity programs for Morgan Stanley and Credit Suisse, and I got accepted to both of them. The one for Credit Suisse was for both investment banking and S&T. And a really good thing about the Credit Suisse diversity program was that they guaranteed a super day. And so because I was pledging as well, I just decided to put all my eggs in one basket so that that would minimize the time I would spend recruiting. And so yeah, having all my behaviorals prepped before with Sam and some of his other advisors, and also just studying for the technicals through Sam's materials, I did feel like I was really prepared for the super day that I had for Credit Suisse for the IB aspect.
Yeah.
And in terms of the S&T interview, Sam was able to connect me with a client who also had recently just done an S&T interview, and she was able to give me insight on what kind of questions they would ask, what kind of technical questions I would have to prepare for myself additionally. And that was just another really useful resource that Sam had given to me. And so in the end, I got offers for both Credit Suisse's investment banking and sales and trading. And ultimately, I decided to take the sales and trading one because I realized that I enjoyed markets view much more than just looking at individual companies.
Yeah, got it. That's awesome. So this is like you could do one super day for both IB and S&T, or you had to do two separate super days?
I had to do two separate super days for IB and S&T, but I just had to do one interview to get into the diversity program for both.
Yeah, got it. Got it. Okay. That's amazing. That's awesome. I think it's very rare that I mean, we have clients, most of our clients go to IB, and then we also have some clients that have gone to S&T. I think it's very rare for someone to get both offers. So it's
Yeah.
amazing that you pulled that off despite everything you had going on. So I guess like on that note, one last question for you, but do you have like one piece of advice that you can like pass down to other people who are maybe, you know, thinking about going through the process or just trying to go through the recruiting process now? Something that someone else told you along the way that maybe really helped you a lot. Anything like that that you want to share with people?
Yeah, I mean, my one biggest advice would be to block out your times, even though you might not have something else on the side like I did. Simply just like blocking out days, times in your day where you would be doing different aspects of recruiting, whether that be drafting out emails to bankers, actually sending them out, looking for contacts of the bankers that you would potentially reach out to, and then also just studying the materials for behaviorals and technicals, or also just prepping your behavioral answers. I think those are all different factors in the recruiting process that you definitely have to block out time for. And just, I would also say that you should set like goals for yourself throughout the recruiting process. So like, oh, this is the day where I'll finish all of this task, or this is the day where I'll finish all of my like behavioral responses. And so I feel like setting goals for yourself throughout the recruiting process is will also be really helpful for you in helping you feel really prepared for ultimately, you know, your super days and getting the offer.
Yeah, absolutely. That's great advice. So guys, for those of you that are still listening, if you're, you know, about to go through the recruiting process, maybe you're also really short on time, like Jacqueline was, maybe you got a lot going on, not necessarily pledging a fraternity, but you know, everybody has different things, right? And you're just trying to get everything you need to do done in the most efficient manner possible. Because honestly, a lot of times that's what recruiting comes down to, is like who can get everything done in like a very small window, or a very small amount of time that they give you, especially nowadays with like how accelerated the recruiting process is, right? Like every year it becomes earlier and earlier. But regardless, like if you find yourself in that situation and you want some help with that, then I would encourage you guys to reach out and schedule a chat with our team. You know, we may or may not be able to help you. Like you do have to apply; it's by application only. And we just on these calls, we just learn more about your situation, like understand what your goals are, what are you trying to get to, and what are some of the challenges that are preventing you from getting there. And depending on what you tell us, you know, if we feel like we're a good fit to help you, we'll be happy to walk you through what that might look like. Okay. But even if we don't think we can help you, we'll be very honest with you and tell you that. And instead, we might just give you some advice on what we think we would do if we were in your shoes. Okay. Because again, ultimately, at the end of the day, like we can't work with everybody. It's a pretty small, tight knit program, and we only have so much bandwidth. So if you're interested in that, you can schedule a call with our team at www.wallstreetmastermind.com/apply. The streets abbreviated to ST, so it's wallstmastermind.com/apply. And we look forward to talking to you and hopefully helping you out. All right. With that said, Jacqueline, I want to thank you for taking the time to come on here and share your experience with us and just give us your advice. I think the fact that you were able to break into banking as an international student while pledging for a fraternity with very, very little time is really an accomplishment to be proud of. So, you know, I look forward to seeing what you accomplish over your summer, but also certainly beyond that as well.
So
Yeah, absolutely. So, guys, that'll be it for today. We're gonna wrap it up here, and we'll be back with more of these for you guys in the near future. And until next time, all right.